Kicking off with how to handle pastry.
Lightly flour the surface, pastry on top, rolling pin. Now the secret now is don't overwork the pastry. Firm push, turn the pastry round, and this helps to even the pastry. Turn and roll. Now, as it starts to crack, don't worry. Just by pushing it back together, it sort of unites the pastry immediately. Apply pressure, turn the pastry. Now, the average thickness is down to a £1 coin. Back on to the rolling pin, and look, beautiful.
For the neatest edge on tarts and quiches, my tip is to let the pastry hang over the side of the tin when you bake it. Trim around the edge once the pastry is cooked. It will give you a cleaner edge and prevent it from shrinking. My tip for even rising is to place cakes and tarts in the centre of the oven so the air can circulate all the way round them. To test your cake, to make sure it's done, insert a knife, skewer, or even a piece of spaghetti in the centre. If there's mixture stuck to it, it's not done yet. If it comes out clean, your cake's ready. If you don't have any baking beans to hand for blind baking, you can use any rice, grain or pulse. You won't be able to cook with them afterwards, but do keep them to reuse them next time. When you're folding egg whites or whipped cream into cake mixtures, you want to retain as much air in the mixture as you can. My tip, use a metal spoon, as the sharp, thin edge will keep more of the air in. My first recipe uses lovely buttery shortcrust pastry to make a dish that's as delicious as it is simple. Leek and pancetta quiche.
Shortcrust pastry is one of the staples of the kitchen. It is so versatile, but the good news is it's one of the easiest pastries to make. Trust me, when you crack it, it can make a real difference to your cooking. Take a sieve. When you think of shortcrust pastry, it's sort of semi-flaky, but it's rich, buttery.
Start by sifting 200 grams of plain flour into a mixing bowl.
Large pinch of salt. 200 grams of unsalted butter. Bring the butter up to room temperature. If you let the butter become too soft, then the flour sort of doesn't absorb it. In with your fingers. Rub together first. Now, the secret is grab big handfuls and squeeze the butter into the flour. So look what's happened. Literally in 30 seconds, I've got that nice crumbly texture. Now, a couple of tablespoons of water. Nothing worse when the pastry's so wet, you can't bring it together. It needs to shape like a nice, rich cookie dough. It's just a touch too dry. So, one more tablespoon of water. And there you go, it's coming nicely. Now, that's what I want. A nice sort of firm ball of pastry. Onto the board. We're going to use these, one of the strongest parts of the body. Pull towards you and push back down. Use those wrists to really knead it together. So just that nice sort of smooth texture. Now, wrap it in cling film. Set that in the fridge for 20 minutes. Really important that you let the shortcrust pastry relax.
Now to make the quiche. You can use just an ordinary flan dish, but I love making them in mini frying pans, which gives them an extra rustic charm. Brush with oil to stop the pastry from sticking. Once the pastry is at room temperature, roll it out to a nice even thickness.
Place it in the centre of your little pan. Turn it in. Don't use your fingers, because what we don't want is any holes in this. Just get a little bit of dough, because that sort of acts like a little sort of mallet. Flattens it out nicely. I'm building a sort of extra lip, because that way I can get the filling at its absolute maximum levels. We're going to cook them blind first.
To blind bake simply means to pre-cook your pastry before adding the filling. This ensures you'll have a fantastic crisp pastry. Add a sheet of foil or baking paper and weigh it down. You can use rice, pulses, or ceramic baking stones. Just make sure you keep them for the next time.
Into the oven, 200 degrees for 10 minutes.
Now for the filling.
I'm gonna do a classic quiche, bacon and leeks. This is an amazing cured pancetta.
Pancetta is an Italian cured meat, made from belly pork seasoned with things like juniper, nutmeg, fennel. A great substitute is unsmoked bacon. As the pancetta gets lovely and crispy, finely sliced leeks and add.
Whoa, leeks and bacon, nice. It's really important to cook those leeks down. That's exactly what I want. Those leeks are almost sort of caramelised, slightly crispy, but the flavour's amazing. I just drain them off, so any excess fat gets drained. A couple of tablespoons of cream. It gives it this really nice richness. I want 2/3 garnish, i.e. bacon and leeks in my quiche, and 1/3 of the savoury custard. Touch of salt, touch of pepper. I'm gonna grate some Gruyere cheese. That makes a really nice sort of creamy, less of an eggy quiche. Take my amazing crispy pancetta and leeks in. Give that a good mix. Needs one more little thing, some freshness. Flat leaf parsley. Incredible. Really important, just to taste the mixture.
With the quiche filling ready, next, finish off the pastry. Remove the fallen weights and return to the oven to get it lovely and golden all over.
Now, when we fill them, give that a really good mix up. Beautiful.
Grate over some more cheese, which will bubble up and melt beautifully.
And then into the oven.
Bake your quiche for 15 to 20 minutes.
Incredible. It's got that nice sort of cheese on toast smell from the top. It's sort of baked. But the secret of any good quiche is in the short crust, because that's the hero.
The easiest dishes look and taste spectacular when they're done well. And it doesn't come any simpler or more stylish than my next dish. Wonderful baked cheesecake.
For me, food always has to be impressive. But when it comes to desserts, often you see spun sugar or wild decorations. Remember, simple is always the most impressive. This cheesecake is so straightforward, yet so delicious. Now, cream cheese, leave it out of the fridge for 5 or 10 minutes. Go nice and soft. Trust me, your arms will be thanking you. Sugar in. This cheesecake is New York cheesecake because it's baked. So there's no base. Start creaming the cheese and the sugar. Spending the amount of time I do in the States, if there's one thing they know how to do out there, is the most amazing, impressive cheesecake. Rich, delicious, but so simple. Work the bowl. Lift the bowl to your advantage. Really whisk. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Lovely. Nice and creamy. Now, get your eggs.
Add the eggs to the mixture bit by bit. Doing it this way, it's more efficient.
A, you're incorporating a lot of air. B, the mixture doesn't separate. The last of your egg. Lovely. Of course, you can use an electric mixer, but why go to the gym when you can just make a cheesecake a day? A cheesecake a day. Keep the bingo wings away. Now, a couple of tablespoons of flour. Give it a whisk. Stops it from going lumpy. Now, I want to scent that cheesecake. I've got the freshness, the zest of the lemon in there. I want to sort of tart it up even more. Fold in some fresh raspberries. Sort of just mix them through. Be careful not to crush them.
Then grease a cake tin with butter. This will ensure your cheesecake slides out beautifully.
Get your mix. Let that fall in. Now take your cake tin and just tap it. The mixture hits the bottom of the cake tin, the raspberries rise and you've got raspberries at the top, the middle and the bottom. And it also stops all those little pockets of air trapping underneath the mixture in the cake tin. So there's no holes in the cheesecake. Now, into the oven, 180 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. Slightly souffled up. Pull off. That's the colour I wanted on top. And look at it. It's one of the simplest, yet the most stylish cheesecakes anywhere. Beautiful.